Hello viewer, hope the day is treating you right. Now before we dive straight into this fresh new circle of hell that Orem has found himself in, I kinda want to take a minute to talk about Kanari. Cause I feel like this chapter has been almost as much about him as it is about Orem. So it wouldn't hurt for all of us to be on the same page. So what do we know about Kanari? Well, for one, he is Orem's oldest friend, and quite possibly the only one, based on Orem's more casual interactions with the rest of the settlement. We do know from a flashback that they were training both to be wound bearers together, until some unspecified incident happened that made Kanari unable to walk, and based on Orem's apparent feelings of guilt and shame about the topic, my money is in having a bit of a sparring accident where he stabbed Kanari in the leg and hit a nerve, and because these people don't seem to have advanced medical knowledge, they couldn't treat it, and now Kanari is crippled forever. But I also have a feeling that Kanari's father is also someone of importance, or maybe because of his association with Orem's father. Kanari was basically handed a job at the kiln, because technically he is still an able-bodied young man, despite his disability, so he doesn't get out of being a productive member of society. So I think everyone around him believes that they are giving him a respectable profession. But I get the feeling that Kanari actually hates his lot in life very, very much. It was probably his dream to be wound bearers together with Orem, and now that it's gone, he kinda lost all will to live. And the result is what we are seeing in the present day. The only thing I don't yet understand is the exact time when Prava comes into the picture. I also have a feeling that her level of attachment to Kanari is something that is completely unrelated to any potential romantic interest. I'm sensing quite a lot of trauma. Well, that's not really saying much. You can say that about every single character in this story. But still, something is off to me about that girl. But we're not gonna find out what it is until we get some flashbacks from at least one of them. I'm really hoping we get to see both of their perspective. I would also appreciate that, just to see how they perceive Orem acting like a sociopath and distancing himself from everyone. Well, that is where we are currently. Orem's current mission is to find the working elevator. Let's hope he will succeed. Whoa. Okay, what was the name of this place again? The terminal threshold of the partition strata. Okay. Well, I'm not much of a words guy, but the words terminal threshold really sound ominous. And also the word partitioned. Because if you consider this entire well as one big colony, or maybe even multiple colonies, if you take into account the fact that the elevators are called generation elevators. So maybe they were trying to combat overpopulation by just sending the new generation away to build themselves a new place to live. But it is partitioned. And I don't really understand why you would want to do that. Because I think other than the elevators themselves, this place is completely isolated from the rest of the superstructure. So either something really sketchy was going on, or there was something secret in here that they perhaps didn't want the machines to know. We will see. After crossing the small bridge, I stopped just short of the doorway to the next structure. Just to its left, a small post rose from the ground. It was decorated with strange symbols. A sign, maybe? There were 2 lines of text. Stratum 1345. Permitted gene purity higher than 94.6%. Oh, gene purity. I don't like the sound of that. Were they actually experimenting on people? Or is this like trying to combat inbreeding or something? Either way, the words gene and purity are never good when said in the same sentence. I don't have a single idea what it might mean. I have some ideas, and none of those are pleasant. Oh. Okay, we're getting even more of these weird wire things. It's getting a little creepy. At the far end of the room was a strange hanging figure. I approached it carefully. Oh, GLaDOS? It was unmoving, but I knew already not to trust that alone. As I finally came close enough to see it more clearly, I realized that it was indeed the ancestor. Well, duh, like you would expect anything else from this place. What I assumed to be its head was fixated on me. It followed my motions as I came near, rotating slightly so that it was always facing me. It was limp and seemed almost to be hanging from the ceiling. Oh, what a feeling. Hanging in front of a great sealed doorway. I stopped what I considered to be a safe distance away and observed. It doesn't seem to have any weapons. No arms or teeth. I took a careful step forward, and immediately it spoke. This stratum has no record of your biometric identity. Present your gene identity card immediately. Its voice echoed through the empty hall. It was both colder and more archaic than the scouts. Another one that can speak. If it's harmless like that scout was, I might get more information. Whoa. That's a big one. Strange. I thought these ancestors were kinda reptilian-like, but this one is more distinctly bird. Wonder what's up with that. You can speak then, ancestor? Are you a soldier type? I am not. Yep, definitely a bird. I represent the terminal authority for this stratum. Present me with your gene identity card. I will ask this question 2 more times before I consider you uncooperative. Well, at least it tells us in advance. Identity card. I don't have anything like that. I'm looking for humans. Humans that used to live here. Where did they go? Which type of human are you referring to? Present me with your gene identity card. Okay, so one more remaining. I will ask this question one more time before I consider you uncooperative. I already told you, Ancestor. I don't have what you're looking for, okay? Just never mind about the humans. An elevator. Do you know where the nearest one is? There is a single elevator located several dozen strata below this one. Present me with your gene identity card. Stop asking that. I can't help you, whatever it is you want. It's below here. Fine, let me buy in. I'll be on my way. You are uncooperative. I will be taking your biometric data immediately. Oh boy. Suddenly, there was a blinding flash of light, and I covered my eyes instinctively. When I opened them again, I saw that the Ancestor was much closer than before. It had extended its body so that its head was several inches from my own. I quickly stepped backwards, immediately on edge. The purity of your Archimantic genes are under 3%, it said coldly. Huh, Archimantic genes. Well, ain't that something? You are not qualified for access to even the lowest strata. Ah. Furthermore, you are not considered human under the law of partition. Oh, wow. So it kinda sounds like the old humans literally created their own caste system based on how well they are able to do archimancy. Oh boy. I felt my heart begin to race. What are you saying? I said, my instincts telling me that I was in danger. There was a faint sound then. It sounded like metal scraping against stone. I heard it echo all around me as I reached for my weapon. The minimum acceptable gene purity of this stratum is over 94.6%, it continued, inching ever closer. I took another slow step backward. You have committed the crime of trespassing above your permitted living area. Yep, totally cased system. Out of the corner of my eyes, I noticed motion. I tore my gaze to the side and saw long metal fingers wrapping around the nearby windowsill. I spun my head around and saw the same from the doorway at my back. Lithe metal limbs twisted through, wrapping around from outside the structure and scraping long indents into the stone walls with their blade-tipped fingers. My heart throbbed and my stomach twisted as it dawned on me. You just walked into a trap, and now you're surrounded. I was completely surrounded. Whoa, what an image. Your sentence, in accordance with the law of partition, is execution without trial. Oh hey, that sentence was in the Chapter 2 teaser. Nice. The words barely registered. I looked side to side rapidly, watching ancestors crawl in from all the openings of the room. They carried weapons of various kinds, cables attached to the back of their heads that seemed to stretch out of sight. Oh yeah, definitely, puppeteering. But it does make me wonder why there is even a need for that, since they are already autonomous. Well, we do know that they are not a hive mind. At least the scout said so. But they do have some ability to share information between them. Maybe whatever infrastructure is allowing that is not actually present in here. Maybe the humans were trying to keep out the machines from this place, so they had to resort to some manuality. Either way, it's fascinating. I swallowed hard. My hands were shaking. 3 ancestors, nearly double my standing height, now stood in the room surrounding me. The way I'd come was blocked. I have no choice. It's fight or die. Well, maybe you could have just run across under the terminal authority. Ooh, nice music. Ooh, but it's dead. Terminal Warden, Terminal Knight. Whoa. Well, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to switch to this great sword instead of the spear, so let's switch it back. Huh. We got a tough fight ahead of us. This is like the Ornstein and Smough fight, but with a +1. Yoink. Okay, let's get ourselves a little bit of breathing room in here. down. Okay, let's see. Oof, electrocution. Don't even know what that is, and I don't like it. Huh. Seconds after the final ancestor went down, the echo of scraping mechanical hands and feet returned. I took rapid shallow breaths, the adrenaline of the fight still coursing through me. Oh fuck, look at that. Oh boy. Run, Orem, run. Turning my eyes to the nearby window, I saw the distant shape of dozens of ancestors crawling on along the outside of the buildings, rapidly approaching. Do not leave this room. You are to remain until your sentence is fulfilled. I heard the voice of the terminal authority behind me. Realizing this might be my only chance to run, I sprinted for the now clear doorway. Okay, forwards or backwards? I made it to the small exterior walkway between the two buildings in the direction I'd come. Okay. Huh. Does that mean that we're never actually coming back? My heart was beating out of my chest. But just as I began my dash across the short bridge, the sound of metal scraping against stone echoed above me. I whipped my head around and saw an ancestor perched atop the roof of the building just above the doorway, waiting in ambush. Comprehending the incoming attack much too late, I tried in desperation to turn around fully and raise my shield. There was a rush of air, and my entire body erupted in pain. Oh fuck. Well, that ain't good. An ancestor had thrown itself from the roof directly at me, claws outstretched. Huh. And this one is also manually controlled. But you can't really see the wires on all the other ones. That's weird. Its center of mass had narrowly missed my body as I turned to avoid it, which was the only thing that kept me from plummeting to my death off the side of the bridge. Its blade-tipped fingers, however, had torn through my clothing, leaving deep gashes along my chest. Well, that's one wound you're not really gonna be able to explain. My Minash was ripped clean through, nearly coming apart. I came to my knees hard, an arc of crimson blood spraying from my torso and staining the ground. The ancestor fell rapidly, its torso shattering into pieces as it collided with the staircase dozens of feet below. I cried out. The pain was so great that I could barely keep my eyes open. But a voice in my head was screaming at me, my own voice. I need to keep running. There are dozens more like the three I barely managed to destroy seconds behind me. I need to run. Just run. Run. Now. In a daze, I managed to stand, holding one arm to the wounds on my chest, blood seeping from between my fingers and onto the ground. I felt dizzy. With every ounce of strength I had, I continued my labored sprint back the way I'd come. I ran and I climbed. All the while, I bled. The sound of mechanical footsteps seemed to always be around the corner. I was certain that if I stopped running for even a second, they would catch me and carry out my sentence. So I kept running and running until at some point I realized I'd made it back to the surface passageway. I listened, and the sound of my pursuers had faded. I prayed desperately that I had lost them. Well, they are probably confined to their own strata. I struggled to the top of the staircase where Tala sat waiting and collapsed to my knees. Yeah, what are you gonna say about this one? Tala, I choked out. My head raced, trying to think of what I could possibly say that would explain my current state. I clutched my chest tightly, blood still dripping from between my fingers. There's nothing. This isn't like that night before the festival. I can't walk this off. I'm going to die if I don't do anything about it right now. Tala got to his feet, his eyes widening in shock. Aram, he exclaimed, coming quickly to me. What in God's name? With my free hand, I reached into my bag and pulled out my wound kit, throwing it to the ground in front of me. It's not good, Tala, I managed, my voice coming out choked. Yeah, you don't say. You have to help me. I've lost a lot of blood. But if you help me... Without another word, he scrambled to pick up my wound kit, reaching for his own as well. He dug through them both, pulling out the supply of gauze we carried. Aram, you need to show me the wound, he said, his voice grim. I lifted my arm and showed him the terrible state of my chest. Long deep cuts ran across my pectorals from under my collarbone to just below my ribs. My shirt was torn to shreds. Tala went pale and began unwrapping the gauze. Aram, he said, fear in his voice. This won't be enough. Our field wound kits aren't meant for injuries like this. You need stitches and medicine. You need the hospice. He began wrapping the gauze around my chest. I cried out in pain. His words began to dawn on me. Yeah, there's no fucking way you're going to the hospice. Well, that would mean that you're gonna need to bring someone else into this. Maybe Sachita, maybe your mom, but someone who has access to healing supplies. Or maybe someone with the authority that they're not gonna get questioned. If I go to the hospice, it's over. I'll be exposed. Tala could corroborate whatever lie I could come up with. But they'd ask the other sentries to... Fuck. Not like this. Not yet. No, I managed, trying to hide the panic in my voice. I can't. They'll find out. They'll find out, Tala. Just then, another sickening thought occurred to me. My Minash. It's in tatters. I managed to shrug it off my shoulders. My Minash. It's ruined. They'll see it, Tala. I began hyperventilating. Just then, Tala finished another layer of gauze, which was already soaked through. Aram, he said carefully. If you don't get real medical attention soon, you're going to die. Maybe it's time you finally come clean. He put both his hands on my shoulders. Aram, this has gone on long enough, hasn't it? Please, you'll die. With the little strength I had, I shoved him off. Oh boy. Keep your voice down. They'll hear us. How could you even suggest that? If I'm caught, all of this was for nothing. Aram, look at yourself. There's just no way we can handle this alone. You have to go to the hospice. Shut up. It hasn't come to that. Oof. Well, this kinda goes beyond heroism, doesn't it? It's just straight up obsession. The pain, exhaustion, panic were taking hold of me. I've been through all of this, and he wants me to give it all up now. I felt my blood boil. You won't get a foot outside the door before the other sentries see your clothes. Tala, switch Minashis with me. What? I'll wear yours. That'll never work. How will I explain the torn bloody Minash I'd be wearing? Make a new one. Archimancy. I'm not good enough. You have to do it, please. I'm not much better, Aram. An entire Minash? I don't think I could even come. You can't be... Fix mine then. Make a needle and thread. I don't care what you do. Just fucking help me. I shoved my torn, bloody Minash into Tala's arms. He stared at it blankly as I came to my feet, shaking. Please, I begged, my voice no more than a whimper. After a long moment, finally, Tala nodded. He shrugged off his own Minash and handed it to me. I did my best not to scream as I slowly put it around my shoulders, the motion sending waves of pain across my body. Wait, wasn't the Minash like personalized article of clothing? Everyone had their own little embroideries and such. So maybe you could fool the sentries, but if anyone else were to take a look at it, they would know, especially your friends and your mom, that something happened to your own Minash. I'll try, Aram, he said weakly. I'll try. And with that, I stumbled out into the night, leaving the two sentries in the garden behind without a single word. I heard them call out to me in confusion as I left as quickly as I could manage. But I ignored them. Right, it's not even the end of your shift. Oh boy. They are most likely going to speak about that to their superiors. Instead, with every ounce of strength I had left, I went into the settlement and tried to think of a plan. I don't think you will have that much luck thinking when you're in that amount of pain. Think. Think, Aram. Where can I get the things I need? I tried my best to focus on just that. Not if I could even use my limited medical training to make use of whatever I managed to find. No, not find. Steal. I'll have to. As I walked briskly down the darkened streets, I realized how many more peacekeepers were on patrol than usual. It's the famine. They're looking for anyone trying to steal food in the dead of night. Fuck. I quickly came into sight of the hospice itself. There were wound bearers outside the doorway. The hopelessness of the situation began to dawn on me. There's no way I could break in, steal the things I need. Not in my condition. I moved on quickly, hiding in the shadow of the buildings whenever a peacekeeper drew near. The hospice will be the most heavily guarded. Maybe one of the other workshops. Wait, why the hospice? That's not where the food is, right? They must keep some medicine on hand. I think you might want to try the depot, actually. They do have all sorts of stuff. They have to. I picked up my pace, getting closer to the settlement's edge. A workshop would come into sight, and quickly I'd notice guards. One after the next. All of them were guarded. Please. Not like this. Soon I was running. Running with all I could muster. Oh God above. The empty fields of the plantation quickly approached. There has to be one. Please. But before I even realized, I had left the settlement behind. Well, that's one more trauma into the scrapbook. I realized that my pace had slowed to a walk. In my mind, I was running. Yeah, that tends to happen. But a walk was all my body could manage. So I walked along the dirt path, quietly sobbing. This is really it, isn't it? I have nowhere left to turn. Nothing I can do. A structure came into sight. It was a small shed, one used by the plantation to store tools. I stared at it. I couldn't accomplish anything. I'm worthless. Completely worthless. Tears rolled off my chin and fell into the dirt, mixing with the blood. Suddenly, I was very tired. Yeah, heavy blood loss does that to you. The only thing on my mind was finding somewhere to lie down. Okay, there better be someone in the shed, or else we're gonna lose our protagonist. This shed. I'll go inside and lie down. I'll close my eyes and then you're gonna bleed out. I reached for the curtain, drawing it aside. Aram? Oh, Hey, there is someone in here. Oh. Oh fuck. What are you doing out here at night, Prava? My entire body froze. Slowly I turned around, and the sight of the person behind me made my blood go cold. Standing there was Prava. What are you? She began, but slowly her eyes grew wide in shock as she saw me. Talas Binash was doing little to obscure my torn and bloody clothing with my arm lifted. Quickly I tried to drop it and obscure my body. But Prava took a step forward and caught my arm. Oh my god, she said, going pale. What? What happened to you? The exhaustion came in a sudden wave, and I felt light on my feet. I fell to my side and into the shed, landing hard on a pile of baskets. I cried out in pain. Prava rushed inside after me, gasping in horror as she saw the state I was in. Aram, she screamed. What happened? It's over. It was nothing, I sputtered out, real convincingly. Even hearing the words from my own mouth, I was ashamed. The lengths I'm going to keep this secret. It's going to kill me. Aram. Prava's voice was severe. Tell me what happened to you, right now. Well, that's quite assertive. I shook my head weakly. Nothing, I managed. Prava stood deathly still, staring me down. Yikes. Looking at it from Prava's perspective. The guy you just yelled at a couple hours ago about always lying about stuff is literally dying in front of you, and still he insists on lying to you. That's gonna feel horrible. You know, to Prava, it probably feels like this is how little Aram actually trusts her. I could be wrong though. Aram, if you don't tell me what happened, I'm going to bring Kanari here right now. Well, good luck with that. You better put him on your back and run all the way here. Because I think Aram is gonna die in like 10 minutes tops. I'll bring Sachita too. Oh yeah, that would do it. I swallowed hard. Perhaps if it had been any other threat. But not that. Somehow she knew the only thing that would force my hand in this situation. Well, that wasn't really all that hard to guess, my guy. Sachita can't know. I have to say it. Suddenly, I was talking. I don't remember what I had planned to tell her. But as soon as I began, you just vented all of it, didn't you? I couldn't stop. Yeah, that was bound to happen. Everything. That day I'd seen Rayash and Kian die. How I'd gone after Tala into the well and hadn't stopped going back. Night after night, I'd wandered aimlessly, tearing through ancestors, death, and how I'd find myself in a terrible situation. One that nearly cost me my life on the spot. The fact that the minash I was wearing wasn't my own. And how I'd arrived in my present condition, bleeding out in a shed, alone. After I'd stopped, Prava went quiet for a long time. Well, we still don't know why she just so conveniently happened to be in here, where she had no business being. Well, maybe it's just as simple as wanting a little bit of fresh air. Or maybe something more. Prava, I said, eventually. Please. You have to help me. And suddenly, Prava sprang into action. Quickly helping me take off Tala's minash, she examined the state of my gauze and shook her head. There was a soft glow of indigo light, and after a moment she was holding fresh new bandages in her hands. Putting them aside, Prava turned and quickly ran off, leaving me alone in the shed. She returned several minutes later, carrying a bundle of medical supplies under her minash. Where did you? I began to choke out before she cut me off. The kiln, she said quietly. I told the peacekeepers I'd left my mother's precious necklace inside. I lied. We keep a small supply of medicine on hand for accidents. It's nothing like what they have at the hospice, but... Prava began to undress my wound, and I had to struggle not to cry out. The motion brought tears to my eyes. She uncapped the small ceramic jar and held it over me. This is going to hurt. Quickly upturning the jar, she poured what I assumed to be an antiseptic all across my chest. I screamed and felt my body convulse involuntarily. Prava put her hands on me firmly to keep me still. She brought out another small jar, which she motioned for me to drink. For the pain. I gulped it down and almost immediately began to feel my senses dull. Still, the pain was nearly unbearable. I found myself mesmerized as Prava carefully and deliberately treated my injury. Oh hey, the creepy guy at the depot was right. Look at that. Prava is missing most of 2 of her fingers. Interesting. Kinda looks like they were chopped off at the joints. I would also question how she knows how to stitch up a body. But at this point, it might not be all that relevant. As long as she can save RM's life, I think we can keep the questions for later. She pulled the needle and thread from her bundle and went to work stitching my wound. I watched her hands closely, so delicately weaving the needle in and out of my skin as if it were effortless. Okay, sounds like she has done this before. I couldn't help but stare at her offhand, which she made such use of. Even despite missing 2 of her fingers. My head felt fuzzy. How do you, I asked, know how to do this? Yep. It's mighty convenient that the person who knows how to stitch up a wound just happened to be by. Prava shook her head, continuing the pace of her work without missing a beat. RM, she said. You didn't forget, did you? My obligation was medicine. Wait, what? Was she another one who was displaced because of an injury? Oh, is that why she's so attached to Kanari? Sort of like a kindred spirit kind of way. Huh. Okay, we are learning stuff, and I am all for it. Before, anyway. Okay, so now we have 2 mystery incidents. that completely alter the life path of a character. Very interesting. With my wound cleaned, stitched and rebandaged, I finally felt my adrenaline begin to subside. I was breathing easier, sitting upright against the wall. Prava came to her feet, cleaning her hands, and looked down at me. The silence was deafening. I told her everything. What happens now? Help me understand, she said finally. Every night, for weeks, you've been using your post as sentry, as cover. Cover so that you can sneak into the well. I nodded slowly. Why? Her voice was eerily calm. I remember trying to explain it to Tala. What will it matter if I tell her my reasons? She won't believe me. There were people, I began carefully. Humans that lived in the well, maybe a long time ago. There was a famine, just like ours. Thousands died. Prava narrowed her eyes. I kept talking. But at some point, they left. And they went somewhere better. Somewhere without hunger. Without ancestors. Well, that's the one part that you don't actually know. That wasn't stated. You just want that to be true. I sat up straight and looked at her with conviction. A better word, Prava. I gestured with my hands inarticulately, but the pain in my chest caused me to immediately regret it. I've been following their trail, trying to find it, to end this famine. I trailed off. Prava simply stared at me. Then, after a moment, she spoke. So then, you've really seen it? Been inside that place? With all those buildings? Wait. How the fuck do you know? And empty rooms. Going on and on for as far as you can see. Whoa. Time seemed to slow down. I felt a chill go over my entire body. Wait. What? Why would she? How could she know? Prava, I sputtered out, trying to keep my voice calm. I didn't say anything about what it looked like. How do you know that? Prava froze. Her eyes darted around. It's just rumors, RM, she said. Oh no. You definitely know something. I hear a lot of them. Can that really be it? Just rumors? How would anyone know what the well looks like? Well, I guess the same way that you know, my guy. Prava considered me for a moment. Suddenly her calm demeanor seemed to break. And it looked like something occurred to her. RM, she said, her voice severe. You've broken the island's law. What will they do to you if they find out? I grimaced and shook my head. She's a part of this now. Will she want me to turn myself in? I need to get out ahead of it. I've already given you my reasons, Prava. I'm doing this for everyone. I'm not putting anyone else in danger. It's just me. So, I swallowed hard. Please, Prava. You can't tell anyone. Not Kanari. Not Sachita. I didn't want you or anyone else to know. I stopped and let my words hang. After an agonizingly long moment, Prava tilted her head and broke the silence. Okay, she said, a sudden calm overtaking her tone. I'll keep your secret, Orem. Okay. Well, we know one of your secrets. That you also know well. Just don't know how. But I'm getting the sensation that our relationship is slightly shifting away from being equals. Immediately, I felt relief wash over me. Really? That was all it took? Nope. She probably has some stipulations to that. After being certain that everything I'd worked so hard for had fallen apart completely, the hope that I would be able to proceed with my mission was returning to me. But, she continued, yep, she's gonna want something for that. It won't be free, naturally. Prava? I said timidly. I realized then how little of her I could actually see. She was a silhouette, the light of the stars casting her face in shadow. Oh shit, that's a real nice shot. I like it. Would have been even nicer if you could actually keep her as a silhouette. Maybe a little illuminated outline. But still, this one works as well. So, what do you want, girl? Although I can take 3 guesses and the first 2 wouldn't count. I heard only her voice. And it was a voice I'd never heard her use before. Oh? Maybe this is selfish. But I suppose I honestly don't care what it is you've been doing down there. Oh, she is the actual sociopath, huh? I don't care who you're doing it for or why. I care about one thing, Orem. One person. And it all goes back to Kanari, doesn't it? Okay, what happened between you two? Him. Kanari. I love him, Orem. I love him so much that I would die for him. Oh shit, she's a sociopath and a yandere. Hey. I would tell Kanari to run, but unfortunately, he cannot do that. So we'll make a deal. I'll keep your secret. I'll even continue to treat your wound. And I won't say anything about what happened tonight either. But in exchange, when I ask you to do something for me, oh fuck, that face. Ooh, I get goosebumps. Ooh, that face. You listen to me. When I ask you to talk to Kanari, you do exactly as I say. Yep, she has the ultimate blackmail on him, and she knows it. Ooh, now ain't that a twist? And you don't ask questions. But to be fair, he never really did. I was almost too stunned to speak. I opened my mouth to respond, but she kept talking. And if you refuse, well, you can imagine, Orem. My heart was pounding. I wasn't sure I recognized the person standing over me. The cold way she spoke, the malice in her tone. Is this really Prava? She's joking, right? That's it. It must be a joke. Prava, stop messing around, I started. She raised her hand to silence me. The words caught in my throat. Are we clear? She said, her voice like ice water. I tried to think of something, anything I could say. In this situation, she has all the leverage, all the power. She could find the nearest peacekeeper and turn me over in minutes. Would she do that? Strangely, I thought then about the terminal ancestors. That feeling of being surrounded, trapped. The knowledge that if I make a single mistake, I would die. Even with that terrible memory so fresh in my mind, this is so much worse, isn't it, my guy? I'd never felt more helpless than I did in front of Prava at that moment. As the girl I'd known for more than a decade had a secret over my head that could ruin my life. Okay, so we're getting a bit of a timeline here, because we know that Aram is about 19. Rashadar has been training him for 12 years, so he was in General Ed for about a year, from 6 to 7, and from age 7 he was training to be a wound bearer. So he met Prava when he was around 9. Interesting. I nodded, terrified, and said nothing more. Oh, that's it. Okay. Oh. Oh, why do you get to save like this? I don't like it. Oh, this feels really ominous. Like we're gonna have something horrible happen right after. Oh boy. Okay, you know what? This is the perfect place to stop. Things took more turns today than a Formula 1 race. I honestly wasn't expecting any of that. Well, okay, the Terminal Authority fight I kinda expected. Just not the way it ended. Oh boy. At least it's not gonna get worse than this, right? Right? Yeah, it's gonna get worse. But I'm still here for it. I hope you are too. This is such an awesome game. People really should be talking about it more. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this game, which I really hope you do, then please give the video a like. If you're new here, check around my channel. Maybe you'll find something else that is to your liking. And as always, I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care of yourselves and have as good a day as you can make it. Goodbye.